Do you know what movies she's worked on? She's worked on like Barbie, Great Puppy Adventure. She's worked on Rock and Royals. She worked on the Netflix series, Dreamhouse Adventures. She's mostly worked on a lot of the newer ones.
So everything Barbie related from 2014 on. So everything after Princess Power, last season of Blade, and everything since then.
What were your responsibilities on each of these films?
So my responsibility varied with the film. Some films we would get a directive from product on where to go in terms of the direction, visual, or a theme. For instance, like Dolphin Magic and the Puppy Adventure series, not only Great Puppy Adventure but Puppy Chase, they were very much product driven. So there was a line of products that needed to be addressed, and we created the movie from there. But all the other movies, it was more organic, where I got to pitch. I would pitch usually 3 different themes, like space, video game, and something else. And I would obviously do a really good job on what I wanted to be picked, and we would go from there. So I would start developing tone and feel and color stories and mood boards for a specific theme. And I would share that with the toy department, with packaging, with consumer products. And then every team would go back into their own and design accordingly. And we would meet once a week, sometimes more than once a week, to do a creative alignment on all the moving parts.
Mm-hmm. And when you say we, who else are you referring to?
It would be me from content, and then I would have a couple people from packaging. There's always 2 or 3 people from the toy area. There's one people who does all the leads. One people will do pets. The other person will do cars or bikes or whatever the accessories are. There would be a person who would be the liaison for key art, so for the cover art of this thing. That usually was a liaison between us and Universal, because Universal was the company behind a lot of these movies. So yeah, it was just working across brand. Also marketing, of course, there's always somebody from marketing everywhere.
Was Mattel very strict about what could be shown, with a lot of your stuff vetoed, or were they fairly lax?
I didn't have any problems because I worked really closely with the legal team, and it's just, it only takes one project for you to know what the limitations sort of are. Mm-hmm. They're pretty, I don't know, some things you wouldn't think that it's a problem, but if you're there long enough, it is. Like an example, when we were doing Dreamhouse Adventures, and there was a part where they have a trampoline and they're jumping on the trampoline. So it's already something that I have to prep, they're probably gonna need helmets, or they're probably, there's so many things, they have to be safe, they have to be kid friendly, and all these things. So that's one of the things. But me, I would anticipate they're gonna need knee pads, they're gonna need helmets. The legal people are gonna say that it's a hazard for the kids or whatever.
Was there a Barbie movie that you wished you could have created? It doesn't have to actually exist, but if you wanted to make a Barbie movie, what would have been the one you might have most wanted to see?
In a way, the Starlight movie was the one I anticipated the most. Mm-hmm. Visually, to me, I think it was the one that was really aligned with me as a person and my sense of style. And I don't know, I just really wanted that to be the movie that I had in my head. I guess.
And you're like,
so like when
really advocated for that movie too, right?
Yeah, no, I was the one, like, people were really scared about putting Barbie into space, and they weren't sure how the consumer was gonna react or whatever. And I really pushed for that theme to be picked. But when it came time to the script, my idea was something more like Barbie is a girl on Earth, and she goes to space camp, and something goes wrong, and she gets shot into space with her crew, and they have to find a way back, and it's all about teamwork and blah, 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 and you know the rest. And then, you know, but the story went somewhere else, and she lived in another planet. It turned out to be like a little bit more Avatar-y to me, where I wanted it to be more like, you know, she's a regular girl. I wanted girls to be like, that could be me, you know? I could be in space. Like, that's what I wanted. But at the end, you know, I didn't control story, just the visual. Unfortunately, because that would be really cool.
Pauladinno asks, what do you think of the evolution of Barbie throughout the years?
This is something that we talked about last week a little bit, and I feel like the years before I was there, the look was a little bit outdated. You know, I felt like even the stuff that came out right before I was there, even like Blid or Princess Power, the aesthetic was very like toyetic, 80s toys, girl, pink and heavy, and just very like fantasy-like, you know? And I feel like when I came in, I really wanted to update this Barbie lens and update what the Barbie world looked like. I wanted it to look like an aspirational place for girls today, you know? I didn't want it to look corny or too girly. I wanted her to be modern, you know, like you and me, something that we can look at her house and be like, oh, I want to live there too. So I think it was updating the colors a lot and updating the actual design language. And I think the change is pretty clear, like from Princess Power to Rock and Royals, for instance. So I don't see like the evolution as like a steady line, but I think it was pretty abrupt. Like I came in like a meteor and crashed Barbie content and just changed it. Hopefully for the best, but you know, we will see.
Did you have enough time at your job, or was it always like a crunch time situation?
Depending. Sometimes I would have all the time in the world, and sometimes I didn't even have a weekend. It was really like, it was hit or miss. Like at some point I was developing both Dreamtopia and Video Game Hero. Each one had 4 different worlds, and I was developing 8 worlds in one time for 2 different movies, and was still wrapping up Spy Squad and dealing with teaser trailers and key art. Sometimes it was a lot. Sometimes it was like no time for anything but Barbie. But then, you know, towards the end, they stopped the deal with Universal, and then they stopped all the other movies, and it became just the series and the vlog. And then once the series was wrapped, it was just the vlog. So it was a hit or miss. Towards the end, it was more like Mattel was cutting down on all the content from all the brands. So yeah, then in the end there was nothing. But in the beginning it was really, really busy and exciting and like motivating, you know. I think it's also like brand strategy, you know. They were investing really heavily in content, and then there was a change in the strategy and they stopped. Which I think is a mistake, because honestly, I feel like the content in the last 4 years was really game changing for Barbie, especially for Barbie. Like I can't say for Monster High or the other brands, and I'm sure, and I know it was good because I was working there, but Barbie definitely delivered on a lot more than just design and aesthetics in terms of music and story and like what it meant, what every story meant. It really was an upgrade from the past.
Going back to Starlight Adventure, SolitaryFortress asks, Barbie Starlight Adventure has many themes like the balance between order and peace. Did you make the environments to support this theme, like the King's Palace, which is very clean and orderly, contrasting with Barbie's home planet that's way more chaotic?
Yeah, I don't. It's not even chaotic, but her planet is way more organic.
Mm-hmm.
It's more alive. It has, you know, lots of nature, and it's more not analog, because but you know, just more nature and organic. And the King's Palace was very sterile. It was very much about, you know, just the mission, and it was about something else. Barbie's planet was about life, and his thing was about power and some crazy.
So the dream house is kind of like your dream house. Was Barbie's planet kind of like your dream planet?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a dream planet, but it was also a really great example of a collaboration that I had with this girl, Alex Kavalova. She was my production designer for a lot of this content. And she was really someone that, man, our communication was, she's an amazing artist to begin with. I want to give her a shout out because she's great. But also, she was someone that I could send her stuff, like what I wanted, and she just got it. She got me, and it was easy to work with her. It was easy to communicate and to get things right the first time, you know? So unlike some other horror stories that about last week, she was great. So yeah, it was a collaboration between me and her. And she is married to a Brazilian, so I know she's all about like traveling the world and seeing nature and everything. So it was a good coming together of our taste.
Did they pay you well? Did Mattel pay you well?
No, the pay is not bad. I can't say it was bad. It was good, but the way it was set up, I didn't really have like vacation or any sort of benefit. So it was just like you get paid your money, and then, you know, you figure it out, like your benefits and stuff like that. I wasn't used to that. Coming from Nike, we had like amazing benefits. So I had like Nike stock and medical and dental and vision and vacation and sabbatical. And going to Barbie, where it's like, here's your money, take it and go figure it out. That was hard because for 4 years I had no vacation. And when you're working with all these titles and blah, 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 like it's a lot. So it's good because they paid me well, obviously. But at the same time, you don't have the time to take a day off. And that's sort of like detrimental to your work in the end, you know? Yeah, I managed to take some time off here and there, but like I would still have to work remotely. It wasn't like completely, you can take a weekend and like not answer your phone or email. Like that doesn't happen.
When you left, was there kind of like a breaking point in it? I think you said it was just like the band This Way was taking up more of your time and Barbie was taking up less. But what is it also like the management over at Mattel that made you leave as well?
Well, they literally stopped doing content, like at least my side of it. Like I did all of the art development for the Dreamhouse series for a few seasons, you know. So they really we had a big team of content of like 60 people, and in the end it was like 10 or something. Like they really stripped down to just the producers. I was Sway was picking up, and that's what I was heading towards anyway. And it sort of like worked itself really nicely, where the Barbie work started dying down and Sway started picking up. But you know, it's 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 hard when the company is going through a tough time, because people act in a way that they wouldn't act otherwise, you know. So I would feel bad to say something bad about management, because everybody is in a different position and everybody has to fulfill what their job is. And if your job is cutting costs, then you're gonna cut all the costs, or you know what I mean? It's just so as they cut costs for content and later just stop doing content altogether. It's bad for me, obviously. I lost the gig, but at the same time, I think it's worse for them, because there was a really big public for the Barbie movies, and I think it let a lot of people down.
Earlier you said that you worked on like the last season of Dreamhouse Adventures. Were they only releasing 3 seasons? Like, were there no plans for a 4th one that you saw, or?
When I was there, no. And like I said, since they were cutting everything to the bare bones, I'm not sure how long they would have gone. But also, Dreamhouse Adventures is Netflix, so I think it depends on Netflix renewing that contract, which I don't see why they wouldn't, because the show was number 3 for kids. As far as I know, at least this year, it was number 3 in the beginning of the year. So I think it did well, and I think it probably moved a lot of product. They had really fun product for it, but you never know.
Well, here's a bit more of a fun question. Solitary, again. He asks, what was the process for working on Barbie Video Game Hero, since it had 4 different animation styles for each level of the story? Was it challenging, difficult, or fun?
Everything. It was all of the above. It was super difficult because, like I said, I was developing Dreamtopia at the time as well, which is also 4 different worlds and color stories and design cues and characters and everything. But Video Game Hero, I was really, really excited from the get-go. It was one of those, like Starlight Adventure, where I was a big proponent behind it, like, yeah, let's do it. It's going to be awesome. I was really excited about seeing what would be Mario under the Barbie lens. What would be, you know, the little 2D. I love all the body transformations. Some of it was challenging, like the Barbie anime, like the first look of Barbie when she's in the Mario world. I think there were many tweaks, and I would have liked her to look different if it depended on me, but it didn't. So the way she looks, and that's fine. But the little ones are great. Like the little pixelated Barbie, I was just obsessed with. It was really, really fun creating all the colors and all the looks for every world. It was just super, super fun. I loved it.
I agree that the Barbie model for the first anime world was a little odd, but it was cool seeing her in a different look than we usually saw.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen. It's hard when you're the artistic, or when you're supposed to be leading the art, but so many people have a say on it, like marketing. That's what I'm saying. Oh, they're always there because, you know, you're trying to do something that will look pleasing to the eye of the person watching. But marketing, without having any design training, will often go like, oh, I think it should look like this. And then, you know, they win. God knows why. And we get accidents.
It's so funny. You would assume that like design and marketing went like hand in hand, because so much of like buying stuff is how nice it looks. But
Well, you would assume that marketing is the tool that they use to promote what they've designed. That's like the logical thinking. But a lot of these bigger companies, they design based on what the market findings for whatever it is that they're trying to find are. So, but that's, sometimes that can be hurtful to the company because marketing might have a goal that they're trying to reach that, it's not aligned with the consumer goals. And no matter how they want to paint it, people are not going to buy it, and it's a miss.
Paul Brokaw asked, speaking of everlasting dreams, what are your future plans for projects?
So I left Barbie because way back when I was a little girl and starting my career, I used to work with bands and try to manage them, and I knew nothing of life, and of course it didn't work out, and I had to go and learn about a bunch of things about life itself and work and whatnot. But when I was at Barbie, I got involved with this band The Sway now, and it's just started collaborating with them in terms of content and making some videos. Also started managing them, which is something that I was interested from a young age. And things just started working out that way. So for now, I'm really excited about making lots of music videos and going more in that direction. I don't rule out doing more Barbie or more kids animation. I really love it. I think it's something that comes really easy for me. And I have another project with Julia Pister, who was my boss at Barbie as well. But right now, more the band.
Are there currently any plans for future music videos with the band?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask. We're about to record some new music. So we're going to be shooting like a small behind the scenes documentary about the record. And we're also going to be doing a music video to follow with that. More like behind the scenes, not much of a story video like the other ones. But just the first of this new batch of songs. So there will be more for sure. And there will be some like story ones.
Well,
coming.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, it's really, really good, and the songs are really good. So yes.
ShareBear99 asks, hello, I have a question regarding the animation industry. What are the best ways to get in contact or reach out to independent studios or people? For years I've dreamed of working with Disney, Pixar, etc., but now I'm not so sure considering how intense and competitive the field is.
Yeah, I think to get into one of these companies, you really need like another sort of company before that. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be really hard to get to a Disney or a Pixar like right off school. Like you could, but chances are very slim. Working for someone like Mattel or Hasbro, or there's a company that I really like that we actually started developing Video Game Hero with, which was called Mirada. Mirada is really good. There's so many good ones. Point Harness was a good one that did motion comics, is here in Echo Park in LA. And I think it's really easy to get in. These companies, I would suggest LinkedIn even, because it's more personal. Find out people who work at these places and then, give them a shout out. They might be hiring assistants or interns, or just ask if you can shadow somebody, I I think it's easy to go from these companies to a Pixar and a DreamWorks just because the network of people is kind of small. You know, LA is a small town when it comes to like the music industry is very small. It's like the same people, you know, running the same circle. So once you're out here and once you're working for a Hasbro, you will be dealing with other studios, you know, you will be working with other studios. Like I was at Barbie, I was working with Netflix and Universal, and my first boss at Barbie is at DreamWorks now, I think, David Weeb, the guy who did Blid. So people will move, you know, they will move in the industry, and it's all about networking. It's all about your contacts and keeping good relationships.
For some context for those watching, how did you end up working over at Mattel?
So I graduated from Otis, which is a design college here in LA. I was a fashion design major. And after I graduated, I was the fashion representative on the alumni council. With me, there was a person named Scott. Oh God, I forgot his name. Scott Dermott, and he was the art director for Hot Wheels and a lot of the boys titles. He was just amazing. He was so good, such a good person to like have as your like North Star, you know. And it was casual. One day he came up to me and he was like, wait, you, before fashion, you studied film, right? Like, and he said they were looking for somebody to be art director for Barbie. They had been looking for about a year and a half, and they needed someone who knew film and fashion and couldn't find it. And I just came in for an interview and never heard back. And I remember texting Scott later. I'm like, hey, Scott, so I never heard back. And he's like, oh, really? Like, they're waiting for you to come in. Like, you got it. I'm like, well, nobody told me. I should have known it was going to be weird. No, kidding. So, yeah, and then I just started, and there I was.
Pauladinno asks, as manager of the Sway, how much convincing did it take for the band members to wear the suits I see at the cover image? Also, the suits are delightful.
Well, actually, it was the singer's idea. I don't know if he was very inspired about my Barbie work or what happened. Or maybe he just good in that pink. I don't know. But yeah, no, that was Freddie's idea. I cannot take the credit. He's quite the fashionable person, so yeah, he's in charge of his looks.
He's got a good eye.
I know, he knows.
What was your favorite part of working on each project?
I think the developing, like the first initial part, the developing of the sets and the tone and feel were always my favorite. Just because it's a part where I'm more free to pitch everything that I really want and everything that I think it will look good. And then later, you know, it's like all the people start coming in and being like, I think this should be blue, and I think this should be different, and I think blah, blah, blah. And then it just becomes the kitchen sink, you know, where it's like there's no like one thing. And then I have to come in and, you know, filter everything out and make sure I give people what they want, but at the same time it fits into what I want it to look like. But the beginning is definitely the best, like putting together mood boards of direction and colors that I want to hit, and developing like characters, for instance.
I'm guessing your least favorite part was having to manage all the people.
Yeah, my least favorite part, I think it was the not even managing all the people, but aligning aligning what toy wants with what marketing wants with what my boss wants, with what I want, and what the studio can make that we can afford. So it's like all these things, because maybe Toy wants something that's like a flowy skirt. Like, we don't have $1 million just for the skirt. We have $1 million for the entire movie, and you're gonna get a tight skirt because we can afford simulation, and all those fun things.
Solitary asks, what was the process of designing popcorn?
Oh my god, okay, popcorn was the best. We had this long conversation about it last week. We were in these meetings, and oh my god, like, some of these meetings were brutal. Like, where marketing wants her to have a puppy, and then Toy wants her to have a unicorn, and there's like 7 unicorns on the line already, and every movie she has a puppy. And it was just this back and forth, like, should she have a cat? Should she have this? Should she have that? And I just threw my hands in the air, and I was like, oh my god, everybody shut up. She should just have a popcorn. It's a puppy, it's a unicorn. It's a thing that it's like pops into like a popcorn, but it starts as one thing and it pops into something else. It doesn't matter, and everybody's like, oh yeah, amazing. But I wanted the puppy to turn into a unicorn. That's the popcorn. That's, you get it. It's like one of those things. But no, they didn't get it, so it turns into a cat in the end, and it's like defeats the purpose of the name popcorn. But he's still my favorite. I love him.
Crispy Sheep asks, when working on a Barbie movie, how influential was merchandising when deciding on characters, settings, or story? Did it have an effect on what you could do with the movies?
Sometimes, not merchandise in the sense of toy, yes. Not consumer products, not like t-shirts and stuff like that, but like, if the doll, for instance, like Starlight Adventure, for instance, the doll had the outfit, like her space outfit. She had her home outfit, she had her space competition outfit, and then she had like her ball gown. So for a long time, Barbie needed a ball gown. Like in every movie, like Spy Squad, she needs a ball gown. So there was a need to create the ball gown moment on the movie. So like Spy Squad, they need to go into this gala and where the heist is happening, and so they have to dress up. For Starlight Adventure too, like they needed to create a moment where she actually wears the dress and everything. So for everything, like Great Puppy Adventure, there was a toy in that line. There was Barbie in the riding a bicycle, and then there were puppies going around her and blah blah blah. So we had to actually have that moment in the movie to support the toy. So yeah, for sure.
Paul asks, if you don't mind a personal question, did you design your own tattoos, and do you have a favorite tattoo?
Yes, I designed my own tattoos, and yes, I do have a favorite, and it was my great, amazing friend. Her name is Rita Lightguard, and Rita is behind all the Barbie illustrations that you see for like consumer products. So Barbie illustration on a t-shirt, or Barbie coloring books, or sometimes for all the movies they will release like sort of like a book that tells the story of the movie. And Rita does all these faces. She's amazing. She's like the Barbie illustrator of all times. And so she did this tattoo. This is it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a Barbie, and she's a mermaid, but her tail is like a cactus.
That looks so cool.
And she's like a desert princess. She's like a desert mermaid. Desert mermaid, yeah, that's what it is.
You said last time that there's kind of like a Barbie filter that you kind of work with in the films. Do you think you could like try describing what you think comprises this filter?
Yeah, like I said, it's not like, oh, there's a filter you can go to the store and buy, and it's like the Barbie filter. So it's more something that it's more like guidelines that I created when I was at Barbie that to me define what the Barbie style is. So like this Danish modern kind of furniture style, a more modern architectural style. The colors are more vibrant, even though I worked a lot with pastels on like Dreamtopia and other and even Video Game Hero. I feel like more often than not I used to try to use a palette that's more like candy like. The colors are super bright and edible rather than something more muted, you know. So the Barbie filter is a lot of things. It's design, it's color. It's also like a little bit of a language on how to place things and just the lines, the design lines and the feel of everything. Here, say hi to Freddie. This is a special one for you.
Hi.
Ask him about the pink suits, Freddie. They want to know about your pink suits.
Pink suits.
Yeah, what was your idea behind the pink suits?
I know they're pink.
I told you it was probably something really simple. It just looked good on him.
It just looked really good.
Is there anything you'd like to kind of plug or say before we end this interview?
Well, for everybody that wants to work on animation, I think it's a really fun thing. I think more than ever, the technology is getting better and better, and there are more things to be done. I do believe Mattel is going to turn around. I know I made some jokes here, but I do believe they're going to come back with the content because it was really... it was really, really good. They had some people that were really amazing. Even my boss, Julia Pister, like she was the voice behind Barbie. She was the one who really made Barbie a person that is relatable, that we can be friends with, you know? So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. There's so much stuff to be done. Whatever it is, the niche you want to go to. If you're a girl, please do it. There's a lot of guys in the studios, and it's not because it's a boys club, but just girls are not taking that step, you know, into the modeling and all that stuff. So I'm glad you are, and I'm glad there's other people interested in this. There's so many good companies out there to work for. There's a lot of opportunity. For me, I think I am gladly moving into music just because it was something that I always wanted from when I was a little girl. But it was a very special time in my life to design Barbie. I feel like I needed it. It was something I've always collected Barbies and I've always loved Barbie. And I really wanted, I've seen Barbie content before and I really wanted to be able to update it. And so I feel really blessed that I was able to update it and create this look that's now very different than everything that came before. And I think that's it. I hope I continue to make really cool music videos and that people keep liking it. And if you want to do a second part of this interview some other time, I'm open. If you guys have more questions and want to follow up, we can do it. And that's it.
You are too nice. You are so nice to do this again at all and to offer to.
No, you know what? I think a lot of work is also giving back to people. You know, I've had the chance to work with a bunch of really good people and go to school and have some great teachers. And I'm happy to like give this back in any way that I can to anybody. Like, I don't know who's on the other side here, but whoever needs advice, I'm happy to give it because, you know, advice is a valuable thing. To be able to live through somebody else's experience, you know, or like be ready for something that you don't know. So yeah, anything you need, anything you guys need, if you feel like there was a good response and people have more questions, we can do this again. And yeah, yay. Go follow The Sway on YouTube. We're gonna have new music, new videos early September, and we're gonna have a new song every month from September on. So it will be really exciting.
Woo! Okay, sweet. That's such a high note to end on too. Nice job.